welcome to 5280 Film Room. We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And tonight we are a man down. Our compadre Gideon is off enjoying a different type of Colorado sport. He's bow hunting with our friend Chris.
Yeah, probably not a sport we'll be talking too much about, but
I've never owned a bow or shot a bow, so
I've shot a couple compound bows, and they're a lot of fun. Targets only, but the thing I look forward to is possible some like venison steaks and some good food if he
We're
can
basically
just
just here
one.
to reap the benefits of Gideon's efforts
Right.
as a hunter.
His nice little endeavors.
We'll see how he does.
Right.
You got this, Gideon.
Good luck.
we miss you, Gideon.
Be safe.
Hope you bring back some good meat.
Follow your heart. Look both ways.
Wear your seatbelt.
Close but no cigar.
Close.
Wear your seatbelt, follow your heart, look both ways.
There it is.
Well, yeah.
Keys to life. So, to all of our newer listeners, we are a fairly new podcast. So, we do have a good handful of new listeners every week.
This is
Thank
what,
you.
episode 11?
Episode 11.
Yeah.
Yep. We are still getting our feet wet, learning this whole podcasting shenanigan. So new listeners, thank you first and foremost for tuning in. As I said, we are by fans for fans. We are a group of regular people with regular lives and regular jobs who decided to take all of our massive sports fandom and put it to good use and start a podcast. We would love to hear from you. We would especially love if you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, but also subscribe on either iTunes or YouTube. That's where our podcast is posted.
Make sure you get the freshest content right when it drops.
Exactly. Yep. As a subscriber, you know exactly when we have a new episode that drops live. And rate and review. That would be a huge help as well. Also, any specific feedback. We could use it. Like I said, we're new at this. And your
anything you want to hear more about, just let us know.
Any topics you'd like to hear us discuss, any commentary on the format of the podcast, if you think we could do things differently and it would be effective. I gotta give a shout out to Mr. Peacock Man, I believe is his name. He left us a great comment on YouTube about how he thinks we should focus more on the Rockies right now instead of the Broncos, and mainly open up with the Rockies instead of the Broncos. And it was a great point. The Rockies are in this incredible playoff push right now, and the Broncos are still in preseason. Thank you very much, Mr. Peacock Man. We will be taking your advice tonight and kicking things off with our coverage of the Colorado Rockies.
Yes, and we are currently watching a Rockies game. That is our tradition, apparently, while we podcast.
There's a lot of Friday night games.
Right?
Yeah.
And the Rockies are currently losing 7-5 against the Cardinals. They were down 7-0 and then got 5 runs in the 5th. And this is a huge series just because we are competing against the Cardinals for a wild card spot currently. I mean, hopefully the Rockies can win the division so we don't have to worry about the wild card. But as we are in the standings right now, we are fighting for a wild card spot. So the Rockies, I think they need to win this series.
Absolutely, and the Cardinals were coming in super hot. They have been on a streak right now, just lighting it up. And I was feeling really nervous when we were 7-0. And if that was a score early this season, I probably would have chalked it up to a loss then and there. But like Jordan said, in the 5th, the Rockies were able to put up 5 runs. So now it's at least a game. And the Rockies are in it. Here's hoping that through the bottom of the 8th and the 9th, they are able to deliver and get us the win.
Good news, the Mariners are kind of pulling out. Top of the 7th, they're up 3 on the Diamondbacks, so that helps.
Good.
But
yes.
I mean, we definitely need to pull. The Cardinals is what, a 3-game series?
Yep.
3-game series.
I think we at least need to win the series.
Yeah.
I think we can drop a game and still make some ground up, but definitely make a push, especially against a team that is playing so hot right now.
And as Rockies fans, we all need to be really pulling for the Mariners to just light it up and knock the Diamondbacks off their high horse. Diamondbacks have been on a roll, and it seems like for every win we've had, they've also had a win. So essentially, we need to win this series against the Cardinals, and we desperately need the Mariners to win their series against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and for the last month, I've been saying that I think the Diamondbacks are going to eventually fall out of the division. It's going to be the Rockies and the Dodgers, but man, they've been staying strong, and it's been the Dodgers that have been falling back in the division.
Yeah, they've dropped 3 of the last, or 3. They're 3-7 in the last 10, which is kind of crazy, especially given the transactions they've made to bolster their roster.
Yeah, with the Manny Machado.
I mean, I'll
trade.
take it as a Rockies fan all day.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
all day long.
Oh yeah.
The next challenge is the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
So.
And as of right now, at 9:41 p.m. on Friday, August 24th, we're a game out of first, and the Dodgers are 4.5 games out of first. So as long as the Dodgers kind of continue in this slump, and the Rockies can pull out some wins, and hopefully the Diamondbacks lose.
I think continue in the slump only until they play the Diamondbacks, which is upcoming.
And then they can win.
They can win. They can win all those games. That's
The
totally
thing
fine.
that's tricky is right now, the Dodgers are playing their first game of a 3-game series against the Padres, and they're up 7-0. So
Dodgers,
we can't, for a second,
Yeah, definitely not
count
forget.
out the Dodgers.
We definitely. I know the Diamondbacks. I believe they have a stint with the Giants before the Dodgers. Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, that would be huge if the Giants can come away with winning at least the series.
Well, the Giants are a good team.
They are,
and
a good
they're
team,
they're
yeah.
still relevant in the division.
Yep.
Like they.
Yep. 9 games.
I mean, we've
back.
got the top 4 teams in our all the teams aside from the Padres are relevant in our division.
Yeah.
Which bodes well, but it
brutal.
is also kind of brutal. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think there's gonna be an NL West team that makes the wild card, but the wild card standings right now is just so brutal.
It is. I mean, it seems like we're almost better suited to try to take the division than to actually clinch a wild card spot.
The first division win in the Rockies' history could be this year. We're
Let's
gonna pop
get it.
some
Make
champagne.
history.
Let's
Make
pop
it
some
happen.
champagne.
Let's
Popping
make it
bottles.
happen.
I know.
And let's start right now, bottom of the 8th. Come on, Rockies. Let's tie this thing up as quick as possible. It's just an exciting time right now for Rockies fans. There's a lot at stake. Every single game is exciting because of where we stand within the division and within the wild card. So
Yeah, I mean, this game was it had a tough start. Senzatella did have kind of a tough
bad.
He
start.
was-
I mean, he was
yeah,
what?
he was bad.
He was over 80 pitches through 4.
Yeah.
80
Which
pitches through
bad.
4 innings. It's not.
and I'm pretty sure it was 4
Okay.
earned runs in those 4 innings. And then they scored another 3
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, because it was 3-0 after or 4-0 after 2. And
Okay, the first 2 innings. Yeah.
I don't know if Sensatella gave up all 7 runs or if someone else did, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sensatella gave up.
He
all 7.
probably got tired fast.
Right.
I mean, that's a
Pitching.
lot
Yeah.
of pitches.
Oh yeah.
100 pitches through basically half the game,
Yeah.
if not sooner. But
Like I was really hoping the Rockies could ride that high after yesterday's game when Ian Desmond hit that walk-off home run with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and the offense did nothing all game. Like the Rockies were down 2-1 in the 9th inning with 2 outs, and Trevor Story was on second base. Ian Desmond hit a walk-off home run. Like that's what you got to do to make the playoffs, win those types of games.
yes.
And show up in those moments and deliver. And the Rockies have had a handful of games this season, even in the last month, that have ended in walk-offs. And it just gives you that feeling as a fan that, like, they are locked in.
Yes.
Not every game's going to be pretty. It's not always going to be perfect. But when push comes to shove, they are pulling out victories. And that's what needs to happen at this stage of the
And I mean,
season.
down 2 in the bottom of the 8th, we're putting ourselves in a position to win another one.
That's the hope.
Two,
know.
2 are on, 1 out.
Let's do
I
this.
mean,
Yeah,
we still got some time.
there's
And
still
I-
a chance.
Firmly believe if there's anything that can give us that extra push, it's these fantastic Charlie Blackmon beard beanies all
They
the
are
fans
glorious.
are wearing. If you don't know
Yes.
what I'm talking about, Google it. Charlie Blackmon beard beanie. They're fantastic. I need one. Shout out to my friend Jill, who's at the game and rocking that. You look lovely. They are awesome, and it's the Player Appreciation Week. Is that correct? Or Players Week?
Players Weekend.
Players Weekend. So
Yeah.
these jerseys are fantastic with like the bright purple and
It
the
kinda-
nicknames on the
Yeah, it
back.
kind of reminds
I
me
love
of Color Rush for NFL.
Oh,
Yes.
A little bit.
Right.
Obviously, no nicknames, but a little switch up. I do really like the black on purple for the Rockies.
They're
The
like
Cardinals look good too. I mean,
custom cleats and the
Yeah.
bats. Like
Not as good.
fun.
definitely not as good.
The Rockies look sleek tonight, though. I like
Mm-hmm.
these jerseys.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. What I didn't know, Nolan Arenado's nickname was NATO. I've never heard that before. But that's on the
No.
back of his jersey.
I mean,
I kind of like it though.
Not a clue.
Stories is kind of original.
Trev.
I love dolls.
Baby
Baby
doll.
doll.
Baby doll.
That one just makes me happy.
Yeah,
But-
cargo is cargo, of course.
It's cool to see some.
I forget that's not like his given name
Yes.
sometimes.
It's not his actual name.
We just reference him so often as
Cargo.
Cargo. Yeah. It's cool to see them being able to add a little bit more personality individually to the game, especially with the bats and the cleats and stuff. I mean, it's nicknames, obviously. I mean, that's a little bit more so, I think, for the fans to get to know kind of a little bit more who someone is and
Right.
reference them as, oh, it's not just Trevor Story.
Yeah.
It's Trev.
It's Trev.
Trev.
It's Trev.
But I don't remember who it was, but there's a Canadian on the Cardinals. He was wearing he was using a bat that just had maple leaves all over it. So I mean, it's
That's
cool
cool.
to see that nationality and that spirit come through in the equipment that they're putting on the field.
Right? It's great that the league actually allows that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a small little.
Weekend.
I think weekend,
yeah, I
2-3
believe
days
it's a
probably.
weekend.
Maybe including Friday. I don't know. But it is cool to be able to do this. It's shortly after the All-Star break, not too far,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like it. I mean,
Gives a little extra pizzazz.
yeah.
So I think, based on what I've heard, this year's getting better feedback than last year has. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
ratings have
I don't know
been up.
how often they've been doing this for Players Weekend, but
Well,
it is cool.
I'd never even heard of this until Miles told me today.
today,
Like-
yeah, you learn something new every day,
Right? I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
It's great.
last year was probably the first time I would guess, just because like I'd never heard of it, and I'm a hardcore baseball fan. But like I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just brings a different aspect to it, and just makes it a little bit more fun. It just makes people want to watch it more.
Gives that individuality for sure. Talk about an exciting Friday to be a Colorado sports fan. I
Yes.
am loving today. We've got an incredibly important game with the Rockies, and then we had our third preseason game. The Broncos faced off against Washington, and it was a fun game to watch. The first team offense, or first team in general, was out there the whole first half, and I felt like it gave us a far more substantial and accurate read on how our first team is looking.
Yes, I mean we definitely were able to put together some drives, get some first downs, and really show what we can do. I mean we're still not 100%. I believe Ron Leary's still out, and Max Garcia's starting in place for him. It's awesome. I'm really excited to see.
I was happy watching.
Yes.
I wasn't anxious. I wasn't freaking out. Like, all last season was like you watch every game because you love this team and you're a passionate fan. But it was not enjoyable. It was stressful.
Yes.
And like I said,
Multiple
and I know it's
stressful.
preseason. I get it. It doesn't matter.
I don't know if it'd be as stressful as back in the Tebow days. That was
stress.
Oh,
But they made
yeah.
the playoffs.
They made it. Yes.
It was
So-
good stress.
It was good stress.
It paid out.
It's like,
It
oh,
It was just fun to like kick back with a beer and watch my Broncos put together some comprehensive drives and look clean and concise and like they knew what they were doing. Last season, it felt like no one on the field knew what anyone else was doing. There was no cohesiveness. It was a disaster. And I know it's preseason. Like, I get that. But it's still fun to feel excited about it.
yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a game that quote unquote doesn't count because it is preseason. Once September 9th rolls around, then we will really see what we've got to show against the Seahawks.
Well, this year's team just has a different feel to it than
Definitely.
last year.
Well, I mean, I think we've touched on that a couple times in regards to the locker room feel with the departure of Aqib Talib.
Absolutely.
That strong personality. I think this year with Vance having a full season under his belt has kind of really helped him and the coaching staff to foster a locker room and environment that breeds what Broncos is all about, winning championships.
And having a coaching staff that he himself compiled.
Yes.
Coming in last year, he was working with veteran coaches that have been with the Broncos for 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, and then McCoy's departure. I mean, that didn't help right in the almost smack dab middle of the season.
No. It needed
Musgrave
to
has
happen,
now been able to install his own offense.
And I'm liking it.
I'm
loving what Musgrave has got up his sleeve. If this game in particular is any indication, I'm just pumped up for the season.
Yeah, Sanders was balling out today.
Yeah,
that was. I
Emmanuel!
mean, that was,
the 75-yard drive where he got all the yards, that was pretty amazing.
He
Yeah,
was
I
on
Two passes,
fire.
2 receptions.
I mean, he had a
one
great
run.
catch to convert that 3rd and long, and then the touch that Keenum put on that pass down the sideline right between the two defenders was great. But I mean, I think even greater than that throw was the catch. I mean, Emmanuel laid out, caught it, hands under the ball, didn't touch the ground, didn't wobble, clean. And then there's the reverse.
Right?
The pitch
I know.
to the
that
rushing
was amazing.
touchdown.
That was amazing. I think
I
this
mean,
is the first time
We got to give some credit to the lack of tackling on the Redskins defense on that individual play.
Yeah, he was
Just that play.
zipping around people like it was nothing.
But Janovich's block was stellar.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
That was amazing.
Textbook.
Jano.
Jano knows how to do his job.
Yes, he
He
does.
really
And it's
and he
block.
executes it cleanly. Yes, his job is to block, and he handles himself like a pro.
Oh, yeah.
Random fact: if you did not know this, Emmanuel Sanders' middle name is Nehemiah. And I cannot tell you enough how much fun it is to yell, Emmanuel Nehemiah! at the television. So, you're welcome in advance. This will make your whole season better if Case and Emmanuel keep up this seemingly, infectious electric chemistry they seem to have.
I think this year
Yes.
Emmanuel is the Broncos' legit number 1 wide receiver. Like, he's always kind of been behind
those are big words.
Demarius. But I think
Those are big words.
I think he's the best receiver that the Broncos have right now.
But I mean, they were touching on, the broadcasters were touching on that during the game. You get Sanders involved, he will produce and become that player. Last year it was so up and down with him that it was hard for him to really get a groove. But he's
And
the guy who needs those targets, needs those touches. I
He
mean, he had
does.
8 targets today, plus the run.
And when he's not getting targets, he has an attitude.
Oh yeah,
He most certainly has an edge. He's a diva through and through. But when he's feeling that connection with his quarterback and he's feeling like he's being targeted and his abilities are being recognized, no one goes off quite like him.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
mean-
he's so dynamic when it comes to what he can do. And tonight's game was perfect show of that. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a great down the middle catch, sideline diving catch, and a run.
Yeah.
What else can you ask for to show
Check,
the versatility?
check.
It's not even like what he can do, it's what he will do.
Oh yeah,
Like, he's the guy that he's going to
ferocious.
dive out for a pass when he knows
middle
he's
of the
gonna
field
get laid
between
out.
2 linebackers and
Yeah.
a safety.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't
Oh,
for
yeah.
the life of me remember what game it was, but it was, I think, his first season with us. And there was a defining moment where he became my favorite player. And he dove for a catch, he got it, and he got laid out.
It's the Rams.
Was it the Rams?
Yeah.
Oh, he just
Oh,
got
when he was like diving and just got.
pancaked.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got annihilated.
Oh, yeah.
And the commentators were like, oh, he's slow to get up. Is he okay? And like everyone was kind of holding their breath, waiting to see if he would be all right. And this dude pops to his feet. Literally, like, surveys the crowd, arm up in the air, and then takes a full-on bow.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's my guy.
I feel like that's him.
That kind of, like, absolute, like, you know he was hurting. And he's laying there, and he's like, oh, no. I can't let him know I'm hurt.
Probably seen a few
I
birdies.
gotta put on a show.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a theater teacher. So he takes the bow, and I'm like, oh, you are my favorite. It was just this showmanship.
Gold
You
star.
know, he goes big because he plays very much from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, 'cause he's a short wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean he's got good speed. He doesn't have like Tyreek Hill speed or anything, but like he's a guy that he's gonna do whatever he has to do to make the catch.
He's definitely quick, but I think he's definitely as agile as he is quick.
Yes.
And his fearlessness is what takes him to the next level.
For sure, yeah. But I mean, with him, going back to what you were saying, Jordan, about him being the top receiver, it wouldn't surprise me. DT really hasn't showed much this preseason, aside from in the practice. I mean, he has, I think, 1 or 2 catches for like 10 yards this preseason. Now, it's preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, he could go off 10 yards, 150, or 10 receptions, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns in week 1.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
And I love DT. And
Oh,
I would,
yeah.
I
Oh,
would
yeah.
absolutely love for that to happen. Because his talent is pretty unmatched.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
But
just,
I mean,
is he gonna go for it?
Cortland Sutton was showing off a little bit of that
He
high
was.
point tonight on that sideline catch. I mean, it was thrown a little bit behind him, but Sutton stopped, went up, and took
Snagged
the ball.
it.
I
Yep.
mean, that's what we're used to seeing from DT. Get up, high point the ball, and come down with it. Now, there wasn't much defense going up with Sutton, but
Right,
still,
you have to
he
take
made the
everything
play
in
to
context.
running a streak down the field, stop, jump up, and get the ball.
Well, and plus, like, we've seen that so much from DT in his career that it's like it's not a surprise when he does
For
something
sure.
like that.
It's good to see a new rookie coming in and doing that, though.
Yeah.
It's way good. But DT should be scared.
I know. Yeah.
He should be scared because
I mean,
Sutton's going to be a
And
DT
yet,
monster.
I don't feel like he is. Like, there's this thing about DT, and I think
Just the calm, cool,
it rubs some
collected.
people the wrong way, but I personally love it. Yeah. Like, he is very mellow. Like, he is very
Yep.
internalized, whereas Emmanuel is like everything's external,
They
every
balance each other
emotion,
out.
every feeling. That's why they're a great duo.
Yeah.
But I feel like Demarius is the type of person who will be happy for Cortland's success, not cower to it. I think if anything,
sure,
it will
yeah.
push him to have continued success, not make him
And then make the entire
antsy.
all the wide receivers better.
Exactly. Competition breeds improvement across the board.
Yep.
And these new wide receivers are given a lot for our veterans to not live up to, but want to continue reaching the next level within their own personal abilities.
Yeah. I
Definitely.
do think, like, to DT's credit, like, I feel like he's a Bronco through and through. So if Cortland ends up being a better receiver than him this year, I don't think he'll have an issue with, taking a third wide receiver role. Like, I think he just wants to play for the Broncos. And his contract ends this year, and if the Broncos don't re-sign him, I would not be surprised if he retires.
We
No.
shall see.
That's a whole other
Right?
topic.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna have to save that one because I feel like we can go down a massive rabbit hole. Running backs tonight and in general. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Royce Freeman.
he's been doing really well this preseason for sure. I mean, he's got a touchdown in each of the games so far this year.
He looks like
which-
the best running back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more so that they're trying to get a gauge on the speed he plays at, how he plays within the NFL atmosphere. We know what Booker can do. That's, I think, why we haven't seen as much Booker, because we've
Right.
had him for the last year or two.
He can block, he can catch.
He can do it. He can do it
Yeah.
all. I mean, he's not over the top on everything, but he
Yeah.
does his job and he does what he needs to do.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like a solid B+.
Definitely.
You know, like,
Like,
he's
he's a great-
reliable. He's not exceptional.
He's like a really good third down running back. When it's like 3rd and 8, like you want him in the game. But if it's like 3rd and 2,
Kind of
like
like
he's not a guy that's gonna run up through the tackles.
kind of like a poor man's Matt Forte.
yes.
type player.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One running back that's really impressed me was a certain person's breakout player, Philip
That's
Lindsay.
my breakout player, Philip Lindsay. I went rogue enough to draft him in the last round of our fantasy league. That's
The only
how
write-in.
severely I am like driving the Philip Lindsay hype train.
I mean, he's killing it in all facets. I mean, I think he's got almost close to 200 all-purpose yards in 3 games, which I'm not 100%, but is probably 40, 50 yards above any other player on the Broncos roster. Now, it helps that he's returning punts, returning kicks, catching balls, and running the ball. And it's preseason, so he's getting a lot more reps, second and third string players.
I just feel like long term, and see how
he
it
has
pans
some great
out.
potential.
Man, I feel like he's special. I feel like he's got something, and it's not necessarily, it doesn't boil down for me to something on the field. It's like he's got the X factor. He's got the fire. Like, he loves playing football. You've heard that from the coaches and players. Like, this guy is an absolute true blue, down to the core football player.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of those quicker, smaller backs. Freeman is more of a bigger workhorse, not as quick.
He's stocky, but he's got quick feet.
He's got quick feet for sure. He can break those tackles like he showed tonight. It'll be interesting to see if, I mean, I think we're all in unison that, except maybe Alyssa, on that hype train, but that Freeman probably will be the starter.
Oh, I agree
for the majority
completely.
of the season.
Yeah, I think he needs
on top
to be.
of the fact that Philip Lindsay's not going to really give him much competition.
They're completely
for the starting role.
Different.
For the starting role.
Running backs.
Now, think about it this way. Could it be something where they utilize a two-back tandem, kind of like Tolbert and McCaffrey, or upcoming this year, Christian McCaffrey and C.J. Anderson, where there's the speed back coming out of the backfield that can catch, block, do anything, really, and then that power bruiser in short yardage and goal line situations. I mean, Freeman's obviously going to be the bell cow when it comes to running the ball the most, but situationally, we could throw Lindsay in.
I mean, like, that would be
that
great,
change of pace,
but it is still just preseason. Lindsay,
has
Lindsay
for
played
sure
against the ones at all in preseason?
Yes, he was in with the ones today.
He was playing tonight, yeah.
Okay. Like,
I get so defensive.
I just don't see.
Claws come out.
I don't see Lindsay jumping Booker or Henderson on the depth chart.
I don't either, and I want to put that out there. Like, I am on the he needs to be on this roster. Long-term goals here, right? Like, I'm not looking for Philip Lindsay to be our starter. I'm not even looking for him to be our 2. I'm just looking for him to be in the mix because I feel like he has earned it.
Definitely. I think he definitely has earned his 53-man roster spot.
Yes.
For sure.
Whether that be as running back, kick returner, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, Booker and Freeman are very similar when it comes to how their play style is. More of a through the tackles, wear you down. Booker's definitely a little bit more well-rounded when it comes to blocking and catching and all of that. But
yeah, I think he's
picking
up
the reads. Yeah. But, I mean, having that change of pace we've seen over the last couple of years has been so dynamic for other teams.
Yeah.
As a pure runner, like, I would take Lindsay over Booker for sure.
And a receiver. I feel like he's got good hands.
And that's why I say change of pace.
Well,
I mean,
Booker's got really good hands.
That's
true.
true.
Booker does.
Yeah.
Oh, and in this whole conversation, we are completely ignoring D'Angelo Henderson and David Williams.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like,
he
what about
had
Henderson?
some legitimate talent at running back this year.
It's a lot of up in the air. Yeah, for sure.
But in a good way.
Yes.
Like,
definitely.
it's a good problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys see, like, the depth chart panning out for running backs? Because typically you keep, like, 3 or 4 running backs on the active roster.
I'd be surprised if we keep more than one. I think David Williams is going to be...
One running back?
More than 4.
Oh.
I think David Williams, like, get rid of no more than... Or no less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think David Williams is going to be on the practice squad.
Could not agree more. 100%.
He definitely has the ability to continue to show what he's got and prove that he has earned or will eventually earn a 53 roster spot.
I mean, he made a sick move tonight.
That
where
was
he caught
clean.
the ball and then he just stopped.
Great.
The defensive back
That
was
great
dove right past him. That was sick.
That was way nice.
I feel like what Philip Lindsay has pulling for him a little bit more than David Williams because they're kind of in a similar situation. Kind of. But more than that, locker room presence. From everything I'm hearing in these press conferences from players and coaches, he's an asset in the locker room. And to be able to be kind of I don't want to say a leader because he's a rookie, but to have a presence that is positive and your teammates enjoy and that kind of strengthens the connectivity of the team.
There's a little foreshadowing for what's to
out.
come, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, whether he's that special teams ace that we keep, or the all-purpose ace, I guess you could call it, that just can do anything. I mean, he can line up outside. He can be in the backfield. He could. I mean, how scary would it be if we had Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay in a shotgun offset with maybe Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, and DT outside?
Yeah.
Like,
right. Well, like Lindsay, he's definitely outperformed where he was drafted because he wasn't drafted. And
oh yeah.
So
well, the cool
like
thing is he picked the Broncos to try to get a roster spot.
Yeah. And like Devontae Booker, he was like a third-round draft pick. So he's been I think he's been solid for the Broncos, but he's been disappointing because
for where
he was a third-round
taken.
draft pick.
Yeah.
And Phillip Lindsay comes in like he was undrafted and like he's looked awesome. Like I don't want to take anything away from him.
That kind of stems in the same regard on the flip side of it, of the fact that I am so pleased with where Chad Kelly is at. Granted, he was drafted as Mr. Irrelevant.
Yes.
Now, I mean, we know his prospect talent was a little bit higher than 7th round. Just given
Devontae was a 4th round.
4th round. Okay.
So 3rd, 4th round. I mean, yeah, right in the middle rounds.
Yeah.
But it's I'd say it's on par with an average player drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. He definitely has more room for improvement, but he definitely could have been worse than he was.
Yes.
In regards to Booker.
But we haven't found that guy at running back.
Yep.
And so there's
I think Royce might be that guy.
Right, and I can see it.
Me too.
He's fantastic, and I can see it shaking out with Royce Freeman in the 1, Devontae in the 2, D'Angelo Henderson in the 3,
and then
Lindsay
as a
as
specialty.
kind of that, special teams. Put him in when you need that moment.
Wear all the hats type deal.
And then Williams on practice squad. Yep.
Well, running backs are so interchangeable, where it's like just based on the situation. You know, like you might play D'Angelo instead of Royce Freeman, just based on the situation.
Right.
So it's like even though you're 4th on the depth chart, like you still might get.
Well, I mean, they were also talking about it earlier. I mean, on the broadcast that the practice squad. I think last year out of the 10 practice squad players we had, 7 of them played in actual games. So even if you're on the practice squad, we could definitely rotate you in and get you on the field.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, speaking about practice squad, I think the positions that we have the most ability to add to that would obviously be running back, tight end, and wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. They do have a lot of wide receivers.
We have, 12 receivers, 6 tight ends, 5 running backs.
Which is nuts.
But, I mean, that's pretty average. I mean, it's...
At this point.
This point in the
season.
In the preseason.
To kind of wrap things up on offense, Miles, how are you feeling? What are your current opinions on Case Keenum?
I'm getting even more and more excited for those victory waffles that we're going to be getting. I think he obviously has made some improvements over the last couple weeks. Week 1 was a little.
There just was not enough of a sample size to like have any logical
he threw
analysis.
4 passes and completed one of them for 5 yards to DT.
Mm-hmm.
One of DT's 2 receptions this preseason.
Right.
Second game he bounced back. I mean he threw the ball well. I think it was over 60% and 80 yards. And then this first half of this game he played almost lights out. I mean he had
great.
He had touch on the ball. There were a few rapport issues that I could see when it comes to timing, but I mean that's more so he slid a little bit too much to the left and threw behind Emmanuel on that one, I think 3rd down, which I mean that just comes with learning your receivers and their speed and where to place the ball.
and cleaning up footwork, and that's something he commented
Oh,
on
there
after
was a
last
huge.
week.
There were a couple plays tonight
Yeah.
that I was really impressed with his footwork and his pocket presence. I mean, he just was doing those chop feet in the
It looked
in the
so
in the pocket,
calm.
and he just slowly moved closer and closer to the line of scrimmage, let it go, and it was a great pass.
Yep.
But you could see all the linemen and stuff going crazy around him, and he just is calm, cool, collected. Which, if he stays like that, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know if Kim Keenum makes victory waffles for preseason games, but Jordan and I are definitely going to make some victory waffles.
Gotta
tomorrow.
get
Yeah.
the waffle iron warmed up.
Gotta
you know?
have
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yay for wedding
Broncos'
presents,
first
'cause
win of the
why
season.
else do you have a waffle iron?
Right.
What are your guys' thoughts on Keenum? How do you
What
feel?
do you think, Alyssa?
I was so reassured watching him tonight. More than anything, just reading him and his comfortability on the field.
Kind of one of those games where you can watch the game and just kind of like take a deep breath.
Yeah. Like, I just sat back, watched, enjoyed my beer, and I was like, this is good football.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting together great drives, good moments. I felt confident watching, and I feel like he's only going to get better. The Vikings are my second team. My whole family's from Minnesota. And so I watched Case quite a bit last year, and I firmly believe it was not a fluke year. It was not a one and done. And I'm excited to see him continue getting into his groove here in Denver. What about you, Jor?
So I thought the first team offense looked awesome tonight, which helped Case. And I think Case is, if you combine Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, and
The Brock Launcher.
The Brock Launcher. The Brock Lobster. All their best traits together, you still wouldn't get Case Keenum. So I think
He's
we
better.
have...
I don't even know
We
if you
have-
get Chad Kelly at that point.
Right. Like, we have a much better quarterback situation. But Case has been in the league for, 7 years, something like that. And he's had one good season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not jumping on the train where, he's going to be the Broncos savior. Or he's going to take the
I'm
Broncos
not saying
to the
he's
playoffs.
going to be the savior. I'm just saying he's going to let us watch some comprehensive football this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to make super flashy plays or anything, but I think he's going to be that great game manager we need.
Yeah.
A great game manager? I think he'll
For
manage
starters.
games for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
not.
just based
I'm not
on
saying
his-
to the point of like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, but I think he definitely, given our track record since Peyton, the best since that we've had at the starting quarterback position.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, since
Yeah.
Peyton. But I think, I don't know. Like, I hope he exceeds my expectations.
Do you have any question marks behind his play or anything with Keenum?
I mean, based on tonight, no. Based on
Okay.
tonight's game, no. Like, he
Over
looked-
the
he
whole
looks really good.
preseason as a whole?
Over his career as a whole, I do.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
because he's been a backup for like 5 or 6 years.
I think it was,
just-
3 years ago he was still playing the full game in preseason week 4?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Exactly. And he had a great season last year. Like, he threw, I think it was 18 touchdowns and only like 7 interceptions. Like, you guys can check me on that, but that's about what I think he was at, which is pretty good. But it's like, I'm not going to jump on the Case Keenum bandwagon quite yet because I got to see in the regular season with the Broncos.
That's
'Cause
fair.
the Vikings are a much better team. So I think,
Well, they
Yeah,
also bolstered their defense, which was
yes.
going to be even worse.
They're going to be
Right.
terrifying.
Well, real quick before, I think you're about to jump into defense.
I was.
All right, before
Look
we
at
jump
you
in,
reading my mind.
before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to Jake Butt getting his
Woo.
first reception as a Bronco. So
Tonight, that was his first one?
Mm-hmm. first
Wow.
one since he got his injury in the Orange Bowl. So
Oh,
it's good to
nice.
see him back out there getting some reps and catching the ball.
And he looked
That's
great in
awesome.
some plays.
Small
Aside-
sample size, yeah, for
Aside
sure.
from the reception, like,
Oh, yeah.
he was just making great football plays tonight.
I mean, there was the
Almost interception.
yeah, the tip at the line.
Yeah.
And he just played defense.
Jumped right on him.
Like,
Yep.
I got you.
Ah!
Yeah.
I like him. I'm excited to see what he can do.
And Hireman's been showing up this preseason.
He's
Yeah,
looked
where
good.
was he last season?
I
He
I
didn't
don't
have a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's kind of true though. Like nobody
It is-
got receptions.
I don't think
except
it's.
for
I don't
DT
think
and
it's
Sanders.
kind of. It is very.
No,
very-
even
Yeah.
Sanders
Yeah.
got like. Well, anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Can
Yes.
we defense it
Defense.
up?
You go crazy.
So, on the defensive side of the ball, someone we all wanted to kind of give a shout out to was DeMonte Thomas. I did not know who he was before tonight. I think 3 times they went, "Who's 35? Who's 35?" And finally, we got it together, figured out who this guy was. He was lighting it up tonight.
Yeah, didn't he have the most tackles on our team tonight?
Yes, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
remember how much, but it was like 5. just 'cause
maybe
he got
6.
so many people playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, he had some great stops. I mean, there was that third down that he just stopped. I believe it was Vernon Davis from getting the first down. I mean, he stopped him half a yard short, right on the line.
Yeah, he
against
made big
the ones.
plays. Yeah.
Against the ones, like that's impressive. Filling in for Sua Cravens, and I mean, it'll be Sua. You gotta watch out for your roster spot, man.
I know.
'Cause
So, DeMonte Thomas is listed as a safety. So, is he playing out of position tonight?
I wouldn't say out of position. It's more so a scheme thing. I think we all know how hard it has been for the Broncos over the last few years to cover tight ends with our linebackers.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been
So I
historical.
think it's one of those flex positions where they move a safety into a linebacker position in the nickel defense. So instead of 2 middle linebackers, you have a middle linebacker and a safety with your 2 starting safeties. But that safety that's in the linebacker position covers the tight end.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's the mold that Sua Cravens is as a player. I mean, he's that safety that can play linebacker.
So DeMonte was really stepping into exactly the shoes Sua Cravens would
Yeah,
fill.
but I mean, if you think about the size and the stature, it does make sense for a safety to step down into that role, especially if they're a little feistier. I mean, I could have seen T.J. Ward doing it. He
Yeah.
played up on the line a bunch, hitting running backs and stuff. But
Yeah.
DeMonte
I
played
think
all
TJ
out.
was a little too big to really like cover like Travis Kelce or Antonio
Travis,
Gates.
Gronk. Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
I mean, Gronk is Kelsey have burned us over the last few years all the time.
Yeah, like Sue Craven's like just his build is more of like the guy that like he's big enough to be able to tackle a Gronk, but he's quick enough that he can run with him.
Yep.
So I mean, like
We just need somebody to run with Kelsey. Luckily we don't face the Patriots in the regular season, so we don't have to see Gronk until the playoffs. But Kelsey, we're gonna see twice a year.
Yeah, and I mean, Antonio Gates isn't with the Chargers anymore, but like, there was a couple of years where we had to face Antonio Gates and Travis Kelce.
Well, I think
Ernest.
Jared
4
Cook
times.
is on the Raiders.
Yeah,
He's not as good as he was a couple of years ago, but he's still a presence at tight end for sure, especially
Oh, yeah.
red zone target.
And we have to know how to handle that. We have to have a game plan in place
Yep.
to account for those super effective tight ends.
yeah, oh yeah.
Well, they're turning more into a hybrid of a wide receiver that's just
Yeah.
oversized,
A
a
giant wide receiver.
massive.
Right.
That is a big man.
Yeah, so DeMonte, he filled that role pretty well tonight.
He looked
Like, he
good.
was making plays.
He looked really
There were
good.
a few times where we were like, who's 35? Who is that guy?
But that's what I love about preseason. You get to learn about guys that you wouldn't see during the regular season,
Right.
like DeMonte Thomas, to an extent, like Philip Lindsay.
Yep.
What other comments or things do you guys have to say about the defense?
I mean, I felt like the
anything.
first team defense just looked solid.
Oh, we were
They
looked
looked
lights out. I mean,
like they were back in the groove of it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was cohesive and electric.
it was good to see Chubb and Miller coming off both sides.
Yeah.
With I mean, our rush defense is scary with those two starting, and then we still have Shaq Barrett and Shane Ray coming
I
off the
know.
bench.
I know.
Like, we could almost honestly, if it's 3rd and 15 or more, just put those 4 on the line and just let them rush the quarterback and drop everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's going to happen
I mean-
every once in a while where you just put all 4 of those guys. Like, if it's third and 10 or
Be
more.
like, sorry, coach, we're just throwing this out of bounds, throwing it away.
Right.
We don't need to play this down.
Like, the first team defense, they gave, 3 points total?
3 points, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we expect from the Broncos defense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the slight benefit we have, I mean, it's a completely different scheme. It's a completely different offense. Almost entirely, 95% of it's all new opponent as far as the offensive scheme. But we do know Alex Smith. We know how he plays. We've seen him twice a year for the last few years.
But he also knows us. And
He
we
also
still
knows us
shut
for
him
sure.
down.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was 3 for 8 tonight, so he wasn't playing his best, but we're still preseason, still getting the ropes. I mean, he's in a new offense, just like Keenum is.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I kind of thought Alex Smith was going to have a pretty good night because, he knows the Broncos defense. But
He looked rough.
I know. The fact that the Broncos defense shut him down.
I mean, there was a coverage sack on him.
Well, and we know him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He didn't really stand much of a chance. But I thought he would at least look cleaner than he did. I mean, he had some really sloppy passes tonight.
He did.
Yeah, the Redskins just aren't really a good team this year.
They're not the best team. I also do want to give another shout out. I know this is a mainly Broncos podcast, but as football fans in general, I think we can all agree it's good to see all day Adrian Peterson back on the field running strong.
Yeah.
He looked good.
I just hope that we don't see him ever again this season.
I don't think we will. I think that's kind of when you play.
Well,
we
right?
play the. Do we play the NFC East? Do we?
Alyssa.
I'm on it.
Alyssa's on it.
How do we not know this?
I know, that's pitiful.
Yeah, especially after preseason week 3.
Our
But,
apologies
I mean, regardless,
to
it
the
was-
listeners.
it was really good to
He
see
looks
him.
good.
Mm-hmm.
After last year, he did not look good playing with the Saints last year. He looks like he's in really good shape and he's running really hard.
And he's determined. I mean, he signed a 1-year, $1 million deal that I don't believe is guaranteed until week 1. So I mean, he's on a contract to simply prove himself.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna take minimal money. I'm gonna just see what happens, and I'll be there. I mean, their backfield is injury ridden already.
Right,
Yeah, with
for
Darius
sure.
Guice with his injury.
So we don't play Washington again, but who do
Well, we play Seahawks week 1, so it's NFC West.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Man, we should
Right?
have put that together faster.
It's been a
We're
long
so
week.
silly.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
To kind of wrap up this Broncos segment, Pat Bowlen has officially been named a finalist for the
Contributor
Hall of Fame.
finalist.
A contributor finalist.
Mhm.
I gotta be honest with you. When this news broke and Broncos country was freaking out, I was really skeptical. And I still am. I'm very excited because I know this is a step forward. But Jordan, I know you've done a little bit more research on this. What does this actually mean for Pat and his journey to the Hall of Fame?
So, I think, just based on my quick research, I think, he's not competing against anybody else. So, him and Gil Brandt are up for the Contributor Hall of Fame spots.
So,
So, they need to get 80% of the vote from the Hall of Fame to make it in.
commission or whatever.
Yeah.
Committee.
Yeah, the committee, which I think are sports writers who vote on the Hall of Fame. So they just need to get 80% and they're in. But they're not
So-
like last year. Pat Bowlen was competing against Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones was the one that actually got to this point. And he
Okay. So I'm so sorry if this is total curveball, but in terms of each annual Hall of Fame class, how many contributors can go in with a class?
That
Is
I
there
don't
a
know.
rule on that?
I don't, because it's a new thing. The contributors, that's within the last 5 or 10 years. I think
I mean,
I
we
want to
could.
say 2, but I don't know.
Yeah, I want to say 2, but I mean, just
Okay.
given his contributions to the NFL with not only what he's done for the Broncos, but the NFL as a whole.
Absolutely.
I think his media
He's
media
more than
relations
deserved
alone.
it. I just have very little faith in this Hall of Fame committee. I'm not
But
gonna
the fact
lie.
that he's made it
the
this
Broncos
far.
get burned all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one other owner that has made it to more Super Bowls. I think we can all guess on who that is.
Right.
Roberto Kraft, with Mr. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but I mean, it's impressive to hear that the Broncos haven't had back-to-back losing seasons in 45 years.
Yeah, and he was the first owner to reach 300 wins with an NFL franchise.
We're one of the most winningest franchises across all 4 major sports.
Yeah. I mean, like that alone.
It's all there.
I mean, if you just look at the football stats over his tenure with the Broncos, like that alone should get him in. But then, like you mentioned, like the media relations.
I mean, him and I forget. That's gonna bug me. I can't remember the other guy's name that he worked in tandem with to get Sunday Night Football kind of moved and the big spotlight for that.
Yeah. I mean, Pat's a big reason why the NFL is such a big deal.
Especially with the media relations that he's had. I mean, really growing the brand within the media to promote not only the league, but everything, the players, the environments, everything. I mean, they were talking that he's the owner that would every single day walk in same time to the training facilities, check in on the players, check in on the coaches, see what's going on. He was very involved.
Yes.
No, I mean, obviously that's Broncos country, and that's what we're accustomed to. I'm sure there's very numerous other owners that have similar schedules when it comes to visiting their team and coaches and all that.
Yeah,
and their involvement.
Like I know the Hall of Fame doesn't consider this, but like the fact that like he, like nothing against Jerry Jones, but like he isn't the Jerry Jones personality. Like he
Definitely
runs
not.
the organization, he hires people to do their job.
Yep.
Like he's not micromanaging. Like he runs the organization, he hires people and just lets them.
He's like, I'm going to hire you to draft, so I don't mess up the draft.
Exactly. And he doesn't want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, he's the owner of a billion-dollar organization, and he just, I don't know. I just think that he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. And he's finally to the point where
He's almost there.
If they don't vote him in, it'll be ridiculous.
Boycott the NFL.
It'll be ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, we're never. I don't think I would ever get to a point where we would boycott the NFL.
Probably not.
No, that would be
Gosh,
very
knock on
extreme.
wood. Let's see. I was over here Googling like crazy, trying to find like a comprehensive thing that I could share with you, and it's a lot of very long, overly wordy articles. That
we could almost
like
have an
total
entire
understanding of.
other hour-long podcast just
yeah,
on that.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say we'll report back with a bit more research just so we can give a more clear answer. But from what I'm gathering, it does look like at this current position he's in,
Nothing's locked up.
nothing's
100%,
locked up, but
yeah.
it should
be
happen.
in. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Tampa Bay Times for my research.
Oh, good. A neutral party.
Yes.
Circling back to the Rockies, unfortunately, they did end up losing that game 7-5, but put up a great effort in the second half of the game. And let's just band together, Rockies fans, and really pull for them these next 2 games against the Cardinals. They are still very much in it, and I think they're more than capable of winning this series when it's all said and done.
Yes.
So we will catch you guys next week. Thank you again so much for tuning in and listening. We appreciate it so much. Like I said earlier, it would be absolutely awesome if you could subscribe and rate and review us and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Leave your comments. We would love to hear from you. Any of the questions, things you would like us to talk about on the podcast, formatting input, literally anything and everything. We are open to your feedback. You can also shoot us an email if you're more comfortable with that at 5280filmroom@gmail.com. This has been us, 5280 Film Room, broadcasting from the Fan Cave. We hope you guys have an awesome week, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Peace.